Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, it is so great to have you. I'm Antoinette, a New Zealander living in Germany. So I've just realised that it's been so long since I've made a German language related video, and there's a topic that I have been wanting to talk about for so long. I just haven't figured out a way to bring this up without sounding a little bit too harsh. But I thought, do you know what, this is a topic that needs to be brought up, and normally as a New Zealander, I like to sugarcoat things, I don't like to offend anybody, but I am just going to let it all out today. I'm going to use a little bit of brutal German honesty, you can say, and talk about the reasons why native English speakers are notoriously bad at speaking German. There, I've said it. But it's true, guys, honestly, there's no denying it. And just to be clear, I am not referring to every native English speaker who learns German, because I have met so many English speakers, native English speakers, who speak German at a very, very high level. But there are a huge majority of native English speakers who speak German at a much lower level than other expats or foreigners who have been living in Germany for the same amount of time. Me personally, I am so proud of how far I've come in my German language learning journey. This has not been easy for me by any means, and although my German is nowhere near perfect, I think I've come a long, long way. So I will be jumping into that really soon, but first I would like to take a moment to talk a little bit about today's sponsor, Busuu. If you're not already familiar with Busuu, it is a fantastic language learning platform connecting over 120 million users across the globe. What sets Busuu apart from other language learning platforms is that they provide compact lessons designed by language experts. These lessons really help to keep you focused, motivated, and on track. It also connects you with a community of native speakers to help you master the vocabulary and pronunciation faster. I've recently completed some really fun and very helpful refresher German classes, and I've also been using Busuu to help me start learning Polish. The classes got me right down to basics, which is exactly what I needed to help me reach my initial goal. This goal was to be able to communicate a little bit with my husband's extended family when we travel to Poland, and so far I'm actually seeing some great results. So as I've mentioned, one of Busuu's really great features is their bite-sized lessons. This breaks down the learning into small achievable lessons and makes learning easier and motivating. I also love the fact that there is a community where you can connect with native speakers of the language you're learning and receive instant feedback. So if you think Busuu is something you may be interested in exploring, I will leave a link for where you can check them out in my description below. Start learning your favorite language completely free today with Busuu. Okay guys, so before I jump into some of my theories as to why native English speakers are notoriously bad at speaking German, I just want to make it clear, I am not making fun of anybody who is learning German, because I know from personal experience that learning German is not easy. I've said this time and time again, I have total respect for anybody who attempts to speak a language that is not their mother tongue, regardless of how well they speak that language. This is not easy, and it takes guts and courage to speak a foreign language. But in saying that, I do have a theory as to what is holding native English speakers back when it comes to learning German. And this has to do with the fact that it can be really hard to find opportunities to practice your German, even in Germany. And I noticed that very early on when I tried to start learning German. So many Germans speak a very, very high level of English. Not every German speaks fluent English, but many Germans speak great English. They will just grab that opportunity. If they detect an inkling of an accent which indicates that you're from an English-speaking country, they will take full advantage of that, and they will completely switch the conversation from German to English, and they will expect you to carry on that conversation in English, even if their level of English is not as good as your level of German. And so I've noticed this many, many times. This has happened to me. I've made a whole video on why I find this frustrating, and I know that Germans mean well by this. They are not intending to insult you. It's nothing like that. They just really enjoy speaking English, and this is one of the reasons why German Germans are so fluent in English because they practice and they take these types of opportunities to practice, and you know, good for them. But honestly, for the native English speaker, it feels like a slap in the face sometimes when you are making that effort to speak German and the person you're speaking to just switches the conversation around automatically to English. And you know, it's easier of course because it's your native language, but it doesn't get you anywhere. And this happens so often with us native English speakers trying to learn German. And this is not the case if you're from a country where, you know, people do not speak your language. For example, when my in-laws immigrated to Germany from Poland, nobody could speak Polish, and so they were forced to speak German. The only way they were able to communicate with Germans in Germany was to speak German the best way that they could. And this is the best way to learn a language, to get yourself completely out of your comfort zone and just speak and make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. I've realized this, just immersing yourself in that foreign language, regardless of how excruciatingly, painfully embarrassing it may feel at times. This is the fastest and best way to learn a language, and Germans know this, and Germans take advantage of this, which is why many of them take any opportunity they can to speak English. This was my husband's attitude when he came to New Zealand and he wanted to improve his English. He just spoke to people. Hardly anyone in New Zealand can speak German or Polish, and so speaking English was the only way that my husband could communicate with people, and so he used that to his advantage. And for us English speakers, it's hard to do that because so many people already speak English and they want to practice their English. So if you're really serious about improving your German and this happens to you when you start a conversation in German and it gets switched over to English, then you need to just politely say to that German, I would really like to practice my German, can we swap? And they more than likely will be very happy to do that. You just have to let them know. Or you can play their game and reply to them in German when they speak to you in English and see how that goes. And so it can be quite tricky to navigate this whole situation, and it's definitely a problem for us native English speakers in Germany. Another theory I have is the fact that many native English speakers don't feel they need to speak German in Germany. And I'm not talking about people who are visiting for a holiday. That is totally fine. No German expects you to speak German. I'm talking about English speakers who make Germany their home and, you know, decide to live in Germany for an extended period of time. And I have met native English speakers here in Germany who have lived here for like 5 years and they can barely speak German, which astonishes me. Many English speakers have this attitude that they do not need to speak German because everybody already speaks English, which is absolutely not true. Maybe that's the case in the biggest cities like Berlin or Munich, but as soon as you go outside the biggest cities and you visit little German towns and villages and you come into contact with the older German generation, you will find that many Germans do not speak English. They may understand a tiny bit, but there are definitely many Germans who are far from fluent in English. If you want to live in Germany full time and make Germany home, then you are not going to get very far by just speaking English. You may be able to kind of find your way around a little bit, but if you actually want to experience what Germany has to offer and, you know, live life in Germany to the fullest, then you need to learn German and appear at least to be making the effort to learn German. So last but not least, another one of my theories as to why many native English speakers are maybe not at the level of German they should be for the amount of time they have been living here. This has to do with the fact that the German language is notorious for being hard, like in the too hard basket. So before I moved to Germany, before I met my native German speaking boyfriend, now husband, I did not know a lot about Germany. I have to admit that. One thing I did know about Germany is the fact that the German language is hard. And I don't know where I heard that, it's just a known fact. Just even hearing the language, the sound, the pronunciation, it was just so foreign to my ears. It sounded so difficult. Just these sounds I had never in my life heard, and I just froze up initially and just thought, oh my goodness, this is too hard. Like, this language is impossible. And this is the attitude that many native English speakers have. It's just that kind of initial shock of hearing German. It's like a sensory overload. So it just takes time to kind of tune your ears and just get used to these sounds, the sounds of the German language. And so after living in Germany for a little while, it just takes the edge off the German language a little bit, and you become used to hearing it. And once you're past that initial shock, that's when you can slowly sort of jump in and or slowly crawl in and start, you know, giving the language a try. But I definitely can relate to many other native English speakers when they are just completely intimidated by the language and put it in the too hard basket. But let me tell you, it is not in the too hard basket. Learning German is doable, and it's something that takes a lot of time and patience and willpower, and you know, it takes many years to become fluent. Even now, I know that I have a long way to go with speaking German, but I'm past that initial shock of the language. So anyway guys, I have come to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it entertaining. As I said, I did not make this video to criticize anybody who is learning German. I know very well how difficult it is to learn German myself, and I take my hat off to anybody who even attempts to speak a foreign language, regardless of how well you speak that language. You are incredible. You are so brave. I also wanted to remind you about today's sponsor, Busuu. They are an incredible language learning platform. So if you are interested in checking out Busuu, I will leave a link for where you can do so in my description below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. I would love you to consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Feel free to connect with me on Instagram, and I will see you again really soon. Bye!